you want to get better, but nobody's got to get better. And for you football players, let me give you some inside information. In college football, Division I, you doing a meeting, after a meeting, after another meeting, after another meeting, after another meeting. Because everybody stepped out already, but my son said, Dad, I got 2 meetings at 7 o'clock. I got to step out. He playing D2 ball. He outside right now on his iPad, getting in the meeting for football. But you said you want to be great, but you don't feel like it. Number 2, repeat after me, committed. Repeat after me, committed. Repeat after me, committed. Good. Give me one boy, one girl, volunteer real quick. Just give me one each.
These 2.
Yup. Perfect. What's your name? Gracie. Clap it up for Gracie. Anybody else? I think the young lady. Yep, the young lady. Yep. All right, clap it for Jaden. All right. Perfect. All right, so here's what I want you to do, okay? I'm gonna put this mic down here in a second, okay? I'm gonna have you stand right here on this red, okay? Now, I'm gonna put my hands against your hands. I want you to push me as hard as you can. Can you do that for me? Then I'm gonna turn around and have you do the same thing. You work out? What sports you play? Oh, what sports? What events you track? Oh, okay, well, dang. Everything. She said everything. Football, basketball. Okay, all right, everything too. All right, I'm gonna put this mic down. I want you to push me as hard as you can, okay? I'm gonna say 3, 2, y'all gonna say 3, 2, 1, and we're gonna say go. Ready? All right.
Push it, push it.
Now here's what I want you to do. Both over here to this wall, walk with me. That third pad, the third one, 1, 2, 3. Put your hands on that pad, and I want you to push. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Push.
Push that wall.
He's struggling.
Good. Stop. Clap it up. 3, 2, 1.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, kid.
And stop. Clap it up. Clap it up. All right.
Like a what? A crab?
There's a reason for this foolishness. Come on over here. Stand over here on my left, work on my right. Face the crowd. Now, can you be honest with me?
He's a child.
Yes, can you be honest with me? Okay. Did you push harder with me or with the wall?
Probably with you.
Okay. Did you push? Are you? Did you push harder with me or with the wall?
I think you.
Okay. Did you push longer with me or with the wall?
I think the wall.
Okay. Did you push longer with me or with the wall?
Wall.
Okay. Why did you push harder with me than you did with the wall?
Just because you're a person that's the wall, and you're better push the person than the wall.
Good. Clap it up. Why did you push harder with me than the wall? Okay.
I thought I could move you.
Good, Marcy. You're right.
So commitment is more than just making a decision to try something. There's no try, there's just do. And so your mindset was, with me, push harder. With me, you push harder. But when you went against the wall, you laughed and you giggled because you didn't think you could push it. Am I right? So you thought it was funny because you thought it was impossible to do it, right? You push harder with me than the wall because you think you can move me. Am I right? And so we understand when we talk about commitment, commitment isn't about being interested. It's the difference. When you're committed, you don't stop when you feel like you can't get it done. You don't stop when you have doubt. Commitment is about no matter how much doubt I have, I keep going until I can't go anymore. That's how you become great. You don't stop when you doubt. So the same energy, the same passion you push me with, you push the wall with the same energy, the same passion. Because I guarantee you, had I decided to hunker down, you wouldn't move me. But at a certain point in time, because of the leverage, I should straight up and down. But if I got down, you're not moving me. But your mindset has to be, if it's the wall, if it's a person, if I want it, I'm so committed, I'm not going to stop until I get what I want. That's greatness. That's an elite mindset. And let me give you a secret, give you some psychology here. You have what's called a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. A growth mindset says, I can always do what? Get better. I can always grow. But a fixed mindset says what? I'm stuck where I'm at. I can't do anymore. I can't get any better. So if you're going to be great at this school, if you're going to be great, not good, at getting the job you want, it doesn't matter what's in front of you. If you're committed, you don't stop until you get what you came for. Does that make sense? Clap it up for these two. So here's what I want you to understand. Doing the impossible takes an impossible mindset. Some of you may not be able to hear it, and hopefully you can't hear it because I'm doing a decent job. But I was born with a speech impediment. I had a severe stuttering problem. People made fun of me in school, and I very rarely spoke because of my inability to pronounce certain words. Every time I bring it up, I start stuttering. And those very same kids who made fun of me realized that now, after retiring over 5 years ago, I actually speak for a living. So the very thing kids made fun of, the very reason why I thought I was dumb as a CB student, now I get paid to travel the world to use the thing that people said was my kryptonite. People said it was impossible. And when they heard I was speaking, they said, TJ speaking? Y'all can understand him? You're not yelling too much? You're not stuttering? You're not talking too fast? Like, no, I've learned to slow down my speech so people can understand the words that are coming out my mouth. I've worked on it. And what did I do? I sit at home and I read aloud. You got a 40-year-old man in the book reading, the cat jumped over the dog. The dog went into the house. Why am I reading out loud? Because I said I want to be great. So my mentor, the #1 motivational speaker in the world, Eric Thomas, gets paid $200,000 an hour to speak. If you Google #1 speaker in the world, you see Eric Thomas, you see Tony Robbins. $200K an hour. So that's my mentor, and that's what greatness, that's the standard that I have to work to be great in my field. If I want the NFL to keep calling, I have to work to be great in my field. But what you think is impossible is actually possible. You just gotta have a growth mindset. And you don't need 200 people to do that. How many juniors do we have? Raise your hand. Let me see my juniors. Any juniors? Any sophomores? Any seniors? Like y'all done seniors? Yeah. Wow, yep. Y'all need to come back in the summertime and get them going. We got I think we have 8th grade, we got 9th grade, we got 5th and 6th. Hear me carefully. It only takes a few to change everything. But you can't be interested. You have to be committed. I want to tell you a quick story unless you get out. Listen very carefully. There was a young man by the name of Roger Bannister. Probably never heard of him. And Roger Bannister was a young man who they said had an ungainly walk. He didn't run very well, wasn't very athletic. And he went to school to get an education. And looked outside the window while he was at school one day and he saw the track team running. And Roger said, man, I think I want to try track. So he went out to try track and everybody said, Roger, you're too slow, you're not very fast, you're not very great, but we'll let you be a pacer on the track team. The patient runs in front and he paces everybody, and then he falls off, lets them keep going. But one day Roger was pacing his teammates. And as he was pacing his teammates, he realized, I'm not tired. He realized, I can keep going. So Roger kept going. His teammates looked at him like, Roger, you're supposed to stop. What are you doing? But Roger kept going. You see, Roger, despite everybody's doubt, and despite his doubt, he kept going. Don't think that courage is the absence of doubt. Courage is acting in spite of your doubt. I have a lot of doubts. When I walked into the Minnesota Vikings, I had doubts. When I stood in front of you today, I had doubts. But you act in spite of your doubts. That's courage. So Roger kept running. And Roger ended up finishing 4th or 5th with his teammates. Then the light bulb cut off Roger. He said, you know what? Maybe I am good enough. Maybe I can do this. So Roger started training. Roger's goal was to be the first man to break the 4-minute barrier in the mile. The doctor said it was impossible. His coaches said it was impossible. His friends said it was impossible. His teammates said it was impossible. But Roger kept training. In the one race, Roger ran in 4 minutes and I think 3 seconds, something like that. They said, Roger, are you disappointed? You tried and you failed. And Roger said, my failure didn't disappoint me. My failure is actually encouraging. Because if I can go for 4 minutes and 3 seconds, 4 minutes and 1 second, well, surely I can drop down even more. So Roger kept training. And in 1954, Roger Bannister ran the mile in 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds. He was the first man, the first human being to run the mile under 4 minutes. And at that time, the 4-minute barrier became a new standard. If you want to be great, it's not about getting good grades. It's not about showing up and checking the box. It's not about saying, for you seniors, I'm going to college. If you want to be great, then you got to do something that's never been done before. You got to be willing to be different because you weren't born to fit in, you were born to stand out. You were born to be exceptional. And exceptional, the beginning of that word is exception. Are you the exception? When you go to college next year, are you going to be the exception? Are you going to blend in? Are you going to be different? I can guarantee you, going to school year-round, Northwestern is the exception. I can guarantee you, Xavier going outside, getting on the Zoom call for his meeting at 7 p.m. is the exception. I can guarantee you that, and I won't put him on blast, but I can guarantee you he was disappointed when he didn't get the Division I offer. I can guarantee you he was upset when he had no Division I offer, but I guarantee you when he got to Division II, I said, son, if it burns and it pisses you off, go out there and prove you deserve what you said you want. It's not about being interested. It's about being committed. And if your mom and your dad have to wake you up in the morning to tell you to get to work, you're not committed. You're interested. If your mom and dad have to rush you out the house, remind you to get your shoes, your cleats for basketball, you're not committed. You're interested. If coach has to remind you to go all the way to the line, don't go short of the line, you're not committed. You're interested. You're interested. Xavier, I already said it earlier, but give me your big voice. How old were you when I took you to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning?
I was in 6th grade.
6th grade. When we was running at 5:30 in the morning, how old were you?
6, 5, 6.
Did you want to? But now at Division II, Wayne State has started running back. I got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Is it hard? Is it easy for you? Why is it easy? You can't wait till you get there to get there. You got to get there now. You train for where you want to be here so you can get here. It don't matter how small, how big, we're in Galesburg. It don't matter. When we went to Ohio State, my son walked in and talked to as a recruit. My oldest son walked in, talked to the running back coach. He's like, where you from? He said, Portage. He was like, where is that? You don't know now, but you will know. Does anybody know what Galesburg is at? Has anybody ever heard that? Heard of Galesburg before? But will you be the one that puts Galesburg on the map? Because now when you turn on TV and you watch Northwestern, Ohio Bobcats, Wayne State, when When you watch the Lions, we praying he make the 53-man roster, we praying that he makes the team. When you turn on the Lions, you see Anthony Tyson III, you say, where's he from? Portage. Never heard that before. Now you've heard of Portage. And forget sports. CEOs in here. There's some doctors, there's some lawyers in here. It's your job to be great for yourself, for your family, for your school. Listen very carefully. I'm gonna let you get out of this. Listen very carefully. You know what I love? I've been speaking around the world for a very long time. I actually went to buy something, and usually I'll get, oh, you TJ Tires, you work, okay, we know who you are, whatever. And I walked in and said, are you Trey's father? I was like, yeah. The one that played football, I was like, yeah. Oh man. And I was like hurt, like now they're looking at me like, instead of, no, are you TJ's son? They was like, are you Trey's father? So he's representing my name in a positive way in his excellence, if that makes sense. So number one is stand. Number two is commitment. The last one is this. Repeat after me. Mission over mood. Mission over mood. Are there days when you don't feel like it? Raise your hand and say yes. Are there days when you're not in the mood? Raise your hand and say yes. Are there days when you're irritated? Raise your hand and say yes. Now, act like your parents are not in the room. Are there days when your parents get on your last nerves? Raise your hand and say yes. I got a big pipe. She like, yes. I got a hand and a foot in the air. You have to learn to be purposeful, not emotional. You have to learn to focus on the mission despite your mood. I played for Brian Kelly my senior year. He's the head coach of LSU. And I said, I was sick, was throwing up to my home plate. Go tell coach I can't make the practice, I don't feel good, I'm sick. If you know anything about Brian Kelly, you know how that went. My homeboy went to practice, he told coach, he came back. He said, yeah, coach said, you don't tell him when you're sick, he tell you when you're sick. He said, get to practice or you're gonna have a scholarship. So I got to practice. Went to see the trainer. She said, yep, he's sick. He said, oh, now you can go home. My parents here would tell you, for a second time I want to ask them, but when it comes to paying bills, keeping the lights on, when it comes to getting you clothes and shoes, stuff like that, when we don't feel good, do we still gotta do it? We still gotta go to work. We still gotta put gas in the tank. But you're an athlete, and you don't feel like it. You're an athlete, you're mad at your girlfriend. You're an athlete, you're mad at your boyfriend. You're mad at, I don't like my coach. Let me ask you if you like your coach or not. Who asked you? You said you wanted to be great. It's mission over mood, which means whatever my mission is, my mood does not matter. I get up and do what needs to be done. I don't have to, I get to. That's your mindset. Mission over mood. I'll leave you with this, and this is why this is passionate for me. In 2023, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, leukemia. And for context, I adopted my daughter. And she had only been my caregiver for about 3 years. We were sitting in the room. Let me back up, because I want to give you the full story. We got time. I took my daughter to a dentist appointment, and she had a swollen lymph node on her neck. And the dentist said, her lymph node is swollen, doesn't look right. You should go get that checked out. Now, for some of you young kids might not know this, but a dentist's job is to check your what? Your teeth, not your lymph nodes. So I'm like, you a dentist, look at her teeth, why are you looking at her neck? But she decided to be exceptional, not to check the box. The dentist decided to go above and beyond. She didn't just do her job. She decided she wanted to be great at her job. She said, your daughter has a swollen lymph node, that doesn't look right. So we called the doctor. And my parents know, we called the doctor, yeah, we can get her in about 6 months. Like, I can't be that busy. So I told him, I said, 6 months. My dentist said, no. You need to go in now. So we rushed her to the hospital. They did blood work. The doctor came into the room. She said, we need to have a talk. There was 2 doctors, some attendees, whatever. And I was sitting on the chair. My daughter was sitting on the bed. Mind you, she's adopted, so she'll know me for 3 years. And the doctor looked at me, looked at my daughter, and said, she has cancer. Leukemia, which means cancer in her blood. And right when the doctor said that, my daughter made eye contact with me and looked at me. And I smiled. And I said, let's get it. I said, let's get it. My daughter looked at the doctor and she smiled. And the doctor said, wait a minute, I don't know if you heard what I just said. She's got cancer. Because the doctor was expecting a different response. But in my household, with Trey, Zay, Zell, my daughter, when I say let's get it, it means whether we're pushing a person or we're pushing a wall, we're going to give everything we have to it. We're committed to it, we're not interested. The standard in my household is excellence. The standard is we don't give up until it's time to give up, until we have our last breath. We don't give up. So I told my daughter, let's get it. And at that moment, she knew that we could defeat cancer. So it didn't matter that I didn't raise her from birth. It didn't matter that she was adopted. It didn't matter that I wasn't a stranger. I gave my daughter a standard when she walked into my house. As a leader for your school, do you give your friends and teammates a standard? My daughter knows the standard is excellence. So for a whole year, she battled leukemia. And then during that year, she was diagnosed with diabetes. So now we gotta do the shots, we gotta take the blood and the whole thing, and we're going to the hospital every single day, every single week. She's throwing up, she's going through it. And then in June of 2024, doctor said her daughter is cancer-free. She started going back to school. And for context, my daughter had been to 5 different foster homes. And she was on 5 different medications because she was violent at times. And she had been expelled from school. So she was in behavioral school. She had a lot of behavioral problems. And for the first time in my care, my daughter went to school on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and did not get kicked out of school. September the 14th, my middle son had a game in Wayne State, and it was my wife's birthday. We drove to Wayne State, watched my son play a great game, had a little birthday dinner with my wife. We drove back. My daughter was on the couch, took her temperature like we did every day, made sure she was good, kissed her, she went to bed. On September the 15th, Sunday morning, I got my youngest son, we went to go pick up some flowers and a poster to ask his prom date to the prom. And I got back home, there was an ambulance in the driveway. I went up the stairs, and my daughter had passed away. September the 15th, 2024. I tell you that story not for sympathy. I tell you that story not to make the mood downcast. But I tell you that story because even to this day, I still struggle with dealing with the loss of my daughter. I speak for different corporations around the world, and one of the corporations I speak for here in this area is called Sealy Ford Auto Company. Mickey Sealy, the CEO, is my good friend. And Mickey said this to me, which gave me encouragement. Mickey said to me, she left at her best. And the reason why that resonates is because when I got my daughter, she was fighting. She was spitting, she was getting expelled. But the last week before she passed, I told you, she made it through a whole week without getting in trouble. And he said to me, she left at her best. She wasn't on any medication. She hadn't got any fights in a whole week, which for her was amazing. She hadn't cussed me out. she hadn't beat me that way. She hadn't kicked me that way. He said she was starting to turn the corner to becoming who you thought she would be. She left at her best. And my question to you is simple. Not about death, but when you leave this school, when you leave your house, when you leave football, basketball, track, are you leaving at your best? Are you willing to accept average or great? A week later, we had a funeral for my daughter on a Wednesday. I was supposed to speak to the Rams on Saturday. I prayed about it, talked to my mentor about it. Said the Rams don't understand. Funeral on Wednesday, we get it. I sat down, spoke to my wife, prayed about it. I know this is school, so I'm not gonna get religious, but I'm a praying man, and I read something that said, he was obedient unto death. And when I read that, what I read was, he was obedient to his purpose. And that's where the phrase, mission of removal comes. I buried my daughter on Wednesday, and I went to go speak to the Los Angeles Rams on Saturday. Because I realized I can't go back and bring her back. But Xavier would tell you, whenever I spoke, because she wasn't in school, she was sitting right there listening. She said, Daddy, that was good. Daddy, you stuttered right there. Daddy, you misspoke right there. She was at all my speaking engagements that she can go to because she wasn't in school. She traveled with me. And I realized that if I can change one little girl's life for 4 years, who hadn't had a family because she was 5 years old, by teaching standards and commitment. So I showed up to the Rams, even though I wasn't in the mood, because my mission was more important than my mood. I leave you with this. Number one, what's your standard? What's your standard? I don't know John very well. He sent me a phone call, text message, said, Stan says you speak for his company, you're a great speaker, come speak here. Right now, at 6:30 p.m., my youngest son is having a banquet for track and field, and I'm the assistant coach. But I'm here in Galesburg, talking to 40 or 50 people. Because my friend, Jack Scomerhorn, who's friends with that young man down there, said he needed me to be here. I talked to my son, baby boy, he said, Dad, I'm good. We're just gonna have an ice cream thing, we'll get a plaque, and we'll go home. Go do what you were born to do. So I skipped the track banquet, which I'm a coach, to be here. Because whether it's 5 of you or 5,000 of you, standards, commitment, and mission over mood. If you want to be great, you gotta have standards. If you want to be great, you gotta be committed, not interested. If you want to be great, when you're not in the mood, you still have to focus on the mission, not your mood. Thank you for your time.